Now we will see the network operating system. So what is meant by network operating systems? So these are the operating systems which runs on servers. So by running on the server, they manage the user data. They manage the security concerns of various users. And there is a small private network which is established between the clients and the servers. And all the activities are managed in between the client and server so as to complete a required task within an amount of a time. Now, in this particular system, what happens that the clients which are connected to the server are aware that what are the different clients which are connected to this particular centralized server. They also know that how the communication is happening between those clients and the server. So all the different aspects which a client is knowing about the another clients which are connected to the network. And because of that, what happens in the network operating systems, the communication becomes healthier. Now that is the reason they are called as a tightly coupled systems. So these network operating systems are also called as tightly coupled systems. The distributed operating systems which we have already learned are called as loosely coupled systems. And as it is a distributed OS, it is called as loosely coupled systems. And being in the common network, it is called as a tightly coupled systems. So how does this network operating system looks like? See, this is the diagram for network operating system in which we observe that there is a centralized file server. Now this is a server which is connected to multiple clients at a time. So client 1, the another client, and in this particular fashion multiple clients can be connected to this particular network. And the clients are responsible for doing their individual tasks, but the centralized server takes the responsibility of sharing the resources to all those clients. So in this particular network operating system, it is also possible that a client is giving some command for printing a document to the printer which is available at the server. So this is possible in this network operating system. So the resources can be easily shared in this network operating system. Now this is how the network operating system works, and now we will see that what are the different advantages and disadvantages of this network operating system. So the advantage is it is highly stable, centralized servers are available. As you can see in this particular diagram, security concerns are handled through the servers because the server here becomes an admin for all the different clients. New technologies and hardware upgradations are easily integrated to the system. So whatever upgradations that we will gonna do at the server end will gonna reflect at the client end also, because the clients are using the servers. Server access are possible remotely from different locations and types of the systems, because you can see here that the client may be at the near location or the client may be at the far location, but it is easily possible for that client to access the server. And maybe a client may be of a type of a configuration, the another client may be of another type of a configuration, but still it is possible for them to access the server with a very ease. Now as we have seen with these advantages, there are some disadvantages also for this network operating system. So what are they? Of course, the servers are costly because they need to be compatible with the different configurations of the clients. So because the communication should be uninterrupted between a client and the server, user has to depend on central location for most operation, because this is the network OS, this is not the individual standalone computer systems operating system. This is the network operating system. So user has to depend on the server. Maintenance and upgrades are required regularly. That is the basic constraints, because the protection and security is also provided by the server to multiple clients. So the maintenance is needed and upgradations are also needed, because the client may be using the upgraded software and the server may not be. So it should not happen. So at this particular server end, this is moreover required. Now there are some examples of this network operating system. They are Microsoft Windows Server 2003. This is an operating system which works as a network OS. Again, the another is Microsoft Windows Server 2008. Again, this is an operating system which works as a network OS. Now finally we will see that what is meant by real-time OS. Real-time operating systems. Real-time operating systems work in the real-time scenarios. These operating systems works in such a scenarios where the time constraints are really strict. When we give the input to the system and a very limited and very less amount of time is given for the system to respond to the request. So it is expected that in real times these systems should give the immediate responses and the correct responses. There are some types of real-time operating systems. They are known as hard systems and soft systems. Soft systems. So hard systems are the systems where time constraints are very strict. So for example, parachutes. In case of parachutes, the parachutes, if the command is given for the parachute to start, so the parachute should be immediately started. Otherwise, there might be the loss of a human life. In the similar fashion, the airbags that are available in the cars. So the airbags, so when there is an accident, when there is a huge accident to a car, at that particular time the airbags are started immediately to save the human life. So these are the systems which are known as which are used with a real-time operating systems. They are used in real times and they are called as the hard systems. And on this another side, the soft systems are also a real-time systems where the time constraints are less strict. So these are the two types of real-time operating systems. Now the real-time operating systems have a small architecture, like the applications are available at the top. This is a RTOS kernel and this is the custom hardware. Now we will see that what are the advantages and disadvantages of real-time OS. So the first advantage is maximum consumption. Yes, of course. So whatever resources that are available at real-time operating system end, so it uses them very efficiently, and because of that it is possible for real-time OS to give the responses very fast. The task shifting. The task shifting is easily possible in real-time OS, and it takes even a very small amount of a time. Let us say there were the earlier real-time OS which were taking 10 microseconds approximately for task shifting, but the nowadays operating system RTOS are taking less than 3 microseconds for task shifting. Focus on application. Of course, whatever applications which are running on the foreground are given more focus, and the applications which are in the queue are given less focus, and that is really required because this is a RTOS. Error free, that is required. Memory allocation, yes, whatever the memory space which is available, it is utilized by the operating system very effectively, and because of that it is possible that the processor gets the information within a time, and so that it can respond to the request in case of hard system efficiently. Now the disadvantages are limited tasks are focused by the RTOS because the concentration can be more given to the limited amount of tasks. Very heavy system resources are there and complex algorithms are there which are running in the background for real-time operating systems. And the examples are missile systems. The another example is air traffic control systems. So these are two examples of real-time operating systems. Now in this particular fashion, we have seen some of the types of operating systems: batch operating system, time sharing operating system, distributed operating system, network operating system, and in this particular video we have seen the real-time operating system also.